want to give us a little overview, Mike, about what Commquest is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Commquest is a rather new name in the community, but is founded by two long-standing organizations. In 2015, Community Services of Stark County and Quest Recovery and Prevention Services merged to create Commquest Services, mainly to offer more integrated services. So community services was mainly mental health and social services, and Quest offered primarily drug and alcohol services. And so by merging those two entities, we're able to better treat the complex needs of the clients that we're serving.
Okay. And how far does this organization go back, would you say?
So Community Services of Stark County, we're coming up on 100 years, 1919, the oldest social service organization in the community. And Quest will actually be celebrating, or would have been celebrating, their 50th anniversary in 2019 as well. So two very long-standing organizations.
Wow, been around a long time.
Absolutely.
Now, as the director of the Strategic Communications Department, what does that consist of? What does your duties consist of?
So really just getting out into the community, letting them know, one, what we do, and two, how you can get help. Because I think a lot of times, whether it's addiction or mental health, a lot of people struggle with, how do I pick up the phone and ask for help? Where do I go? And so our goal is really to try to streamline that process so that when you call us, it's not, I'm going to have an appointment 3 weeks from now or a month from now. It's, how can we get you help today? And that's what our main goal is.
Now, do you get most of your clients from walking in off the street? Or are they assigned there by the court? Or is it a combination of things, or maybe another social service agency or a school? How do you get most of your clients?
It's a combination of all four. Primarily in the past, what it used to be was the criminal justice system. But what we're seeing now, especially with the opiate epidemic, is a lot of people that are reaching out for help, saying, I've really hit my rock bottom. I need help. And on the flip side of that, with schools, we've seen a real increase this year, unfortunately, in the amount of adolescents who are struggling with suicide. And so a lot of schools are using us as a resource to try to get these individuals help early on.
Now, with the opioid epidemic, I would imagine that's affected people across the board, not rich, poor, young, old, middle-aged, the whole ball of wax.
Absolutely. So, just in Massillon here, we have a detox facility at the old Massillon State Hospital called the Regional Center for Opiate Recovery. And, we like to tell the story, when we opened it in 2015, we thought we would serve 400 people in the first year. We ended up serving almost 2,000. Wow. And so that still continues to this day. And you're right, it doesn't matter where you're at in life, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, how successful you are, you can fall victim to this addiction, and so many have.
And as we were talking earlier, Mike, about the individual I was telling you about, no resources at all, period, has no clue in terms of how to go about services. So if I would bring him down to the Massillon office, what would they make an assessment of him first?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that would happen is the individual would get a comprehensive assessment, and then we would find out what's the main cause, whether it's a mental health issue or an addiction, and we would then get them into the appropriate level of care. So whether that's on the addiction side, if that's detox, or if that's residential treatment or medication-assisted treatment. If it's mental health, we have a full team of psychiatrists and nurse practitioners that can treat individuals, and we also do some case management services. So we're really able to treat that, what we call a full continuum of care. And then, the question we often get is, what happens if I have no insurance? How can I get help? And the great thing about our organization is, being a community behavioral health entity, it doesn't matter if you have insurance or you don't. We're going to be able to see you. That's secondary to us. The primary issue is getting you in the door, getting you help that you need. We'll figure out all that later. But that shouldn't be a worry for anyone that needs help.
And the facilities that you have out at the state hospital, those are for people who are going to be there for an extended period of time.
Right. Yeah. So Recor, which is our detox facility, that can be anywhere from a couple days to 2 weeks staying with us.
Okay.
And then from there, we look to get that individual into continuing care. A lot of times, right next to Recor, what we have is Wilson Hall, which is what's called a men's residential treatment facility. That's a 90-day program, a very intensive program where an individual is staying with us and they are learning coping skills so that when their treatment is done, they can live a sober life. And then many times after that is when an individual would transition to aftercare or outpatient services.
Now, when there, say for instance, would there be follow-up once I come out of there and I go, say, maybe to a group home or I go and stay with an aunt?
Yeah.
Would there be some follow-up services that would continue to monitor me as I go on through?
Yeah, absolutely. Treatment doesn't end after that 90 days. So many times, and research has come out now saying that someone really needs to be engaged in treatment for a year to 2 years to really be successful.
Wow.
And so that's when it's that ongoing aftercare type services that are so crucial to one's recovery.
And how about relapses, Mike? Do you get many people who, they thought they were cured, they're now back home or wherever, and all of a sudden, they're trying to get their lives together, and there's a relapse? Do you deal with much of that, or is that not so big of a deal?
No, the relapse is very prominent with substance use disorder. Addiction is a chronic relapsing disease, and so there's a lot of studies out there that say that an individual might relapse 4 or 5 times before they'll enter long-term recovery. And so it's important that viewers and that individuals who are going through this know that there are going to be bumps in the road, and that you need to continue to really have your eye on the prize, so to speak, and continue that process no matter how many times it takes.
So it's important then that a family member or family be involved with that individual if he has one.
Yes.
So that they can support whatever you're trying to do to help that individual.
Yeah, family is so important when it comes to recovery. At all of our programs, we have family support groups. So we actually hope to bring families in once or twice a week to really help them understand what the change process is looking like and how they can help and not enable the addiction. Because a lot of times, as families, we're gatherers. We want to do whatever we can to protect our loved one, and sometimes that behavior can actually enable drug use and not really prevent it.
What happens to a person, say a woman that has 4 kids and now she's going into this program? What happens to the kids? Does a relative take the kids over, or every situation is different?
So every situation is different, but a lot of times at our female residential treatment facility called Deliverance House, which is in Canton, and we'll be opening another one here very soon in Massillon, we're able to actually accommodate the young children with them as well. So the mom can come into treatment with her family. While she's going through counseling throughout the day, we'll be able to watch the kids and really create and reinforce those bonds that between a mom and child.
I see.
Yeah.
And you say there's going to be a deliverance house for women that's going to be opening up over here today?
In the near future. Next week, so the week of the 16th is when we'll be opening what we call Deliverance House 2, which is a 90-day treatment program for women and their young children. It's going to be at what's known as the Family Living Center here in Massillon on the first floor. So the shelter, the Family Living Center shelter, which is on the second floor, will still be there. We're just reallocating some space on the first floor so that we can serve this ever-growing population.
And that's just right up the street here.
It is. It is.
Around the corner block of Lincoln Way East.
It is. That's correct. So we'll have within about a half mile of each other, we'll have not only the homeless shelter, but Deliverance House 2, and then our outpatient office, which is located down on 1st Street in the Midtown Office Plaza with Friends and Family Credit Union. Mm-hmm. So it really makes, for continuity of care, it's really good that we're able to offer so many services within just really a stone's throw.
Right. I didn't realize you had so many different services around the county.
Correct.
You wanna list some of these and sort of talk about?
Yeah,
some of
so
those?
absolutely. So we have a very strong, in addition to our addiction program, a very strong mental health program as well. We have the largest team of psychiatrists and psychiatric nurse practitioners in Stark County, and unfortunately, while we have this growing opiate epidemic, a lot of people have kind of put to the back burner the ever-growing need for mental health services. And so not only here in Massillon can an individual see our psychiatrists, nurse practitioners, and mental health clinicians, but we also have offices in Canton, in downtown Canton, on Cleveland Avenue, and in Alliance out on State Street, that we're able to treat people in a relatively quick time and help them with their mental health and social service needs as well.
Oh, that is wonderful, because I think sometimes the mental health part of it is overlooked. Is that, you got a drug problem, but a lot of it could be from a mental standpoint, which is not discovered right away until you actually sit down with that individual and start to research and find out really what that individual is all about, where he's coming from.
Yeah, and that's really the reason that Commquest was created, because in the past, you would have to go. Organization A would treat your mental health. Organization B would treat your social service needs, and so on and so forth. And so it made it really difficult for individuals with limited means to get that full continuum of care. And so now with Commquest, and especially here in Massillon, we offer all those services from an outpatient standpoint under one roof. So
That is tremendous.
yeah.
And that drug that they use to try to bring some people back, do you use that drug sometimes? What do they call it?
It's called Narcan.
Yeah, now do you use that on some individuals?
We do, and actually all of our offices have Narcan, and if there's individuals in the community, maybe they have a loved one that struggles from addiction, we're actually giving out those Narcan kits free of charge. All an individual has to do is call us up. They go through a short 5 to 10 minute training, and we're able to furnish them with a Narcan kit that could potentially save their loved one's life.
Okay. And what does that Narcan do? I mean, what does it do to a person?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. Essentially, when someone is in active overdose, it's a nose spray, so you spray it up the nostrils, and it completely blocks the opiate receptors. So it stops the overdose from occurring. The individual would then go into what's called withdrawal. So with opiate withdrawal, a lot of times clients suffer from vomiting, diarrhea, those types of basically stomach flu type symptoms. And once that Narcan is given, then that's when the EMS and first responders would come in and get the individual the help they need.
I see. Okay. Okay, turn this on. Okay, now I know we talked about it reaches all spectrum of the community. Does it reach all ages in the community too, say from kids who are in school till seniors who are retired and on fixed income?
Yeah, and
okay.
it really does. We have we treat everything from adolescents all the way up to senior citizens, and we've seen individuals come into our care, boys and girls as young as 12, 13 years old, that are unfortunately have some type of addiction. A lot of times now it's opiates, and it really many times starts out as something that's harmless, and peer pressure that influences that. And then even with senior citizens, a lot of times, they'll have some type of chronic health condition, so they're taking a lot of different medications, and because of that, they do become addicted. So, our average opiate addicted client is somewhere in their early 30s, but that doesn't mean that an individual who is a senior citizen couldn't use our services because of their addiction.
Now, do you find that employers are trying to work with your organization because maybe if he's got a job and he's been on the job 20 years, he's got 4 kids, and he's on the verge of losing his job because of this drug situation? Now, have some of the employers sort of worked with you in terms of trying to keep these people in their job, or how does that work or not?
They have. I think there's more of an understanding. If the opiate epidemic has really accomplished anything, it's reduced some of that stigma. So I think employers are more lenient. And more importantly, what we're seeing that's really positive is that employers now are willing to take individuals who are in recovery and give them a job. At all of our treatment facilities, we actually have staff that work with our clients to help them focus on getting a job after treatment ends in recovery. But not only on the addiction side, we also have that service for folks struggling with mental health too. So we partner with a lot of employers in the community to help get them qualified individuals, because there's definitely a workforce shortage out there as well. So this is a population that has really been beneficial for a lot of employers.
Want to give us, how about giving me some phone numbers that we can reach? If I know somebody that needs your services, where can they reach you or one of your associates at?
Certainly. So if somebody needs detox help, whether that be an opiate addiction or heroin addiction, they can call the Regional Center for Opiate Recovery, which is here in Massillon on the campus of the old Massillon State Hospital. And that number is 330-837-9411. Our outpatient office here in Massillon, which we talked about, which treats folks who struggle with not only substance abuse but also mental health, is at 130 First Street, and that phone number is 330-833-0234. And then the facility that we had just talked about, Deliverance House 2, which is our women's treatment facility, you can call 330-833-8516. And so not only can they call those numbers, but again, Commquest.org has a full listing of all our services and how to get the help that they need.